Well, hello and welcome to Overly Vast Nursery's YouTube channel. I'm David Wilson and I'm here this afternoon in our rose trialing and testing area. This is where we test and evaluate our roses to make sure that they're going to be good performers for our gardens here in this region. That's the northeast and mid-Atlantic states of the US. As you see, lots and lots of very pretty roses. But the question is, how do they grow in our gardens? Do they need any special attention? Are they hardy enough for the winter? Will they be able to put up with our hot, humid summers? And will they keep repeat flowering? Well, here over the last 4 years or so, we've been evaluating and looking at all of these David Austin varieties of roses to find the best performers out of all the ones that have been introduced over the years. And it's very interesting. In a series of videos here on this channel, we're going to be taking you and showing you the best performing varieties. Ones like this gorgeous variety here. This is David Austin's variety, Imogen. And this is a really beautiful selection. Now, if you've been watching any of the other videos that we've posted on the trials that we have going on here, you'll have noted that in this bed and in the one next to it are varieties that have been treated twice in the early part of the year with a fungicide to protect them against black spot and mildew, etc. Foliar diseases that can be really quite severe on some varieties of roses. And then over on the other two beds, over in the furthest direction from where I'm standing now, are the same variety, Imogen, that haven't been sprayed. And what we've been doing over the last 3 or 4 years is carefully evaluating all of these varieties to see how they hold up under our conditions out here in an average kind of garden situation. We're looking to see how they will stand up whether they're sprayed or not sprayed. We're also, of course, testing hardiness and reliability in a kind of average garden situation. We're also looking to see how well they repeat. Will they keep flowering during the season? And out of those evaluations over the last 3 or 4 years, we found this to be a really outstanding performer, and that's why I wanted to show it to you today. As you see, it's got this beautiful lemon yellow flower with a lot of petals closely packed in clusters on the ends of stems. Add to that the fact that, as you see now, it's pushing up lots of flower buds from inside the canopy, so it keeps on renewal. And if you go through and take out the old seed heads, that's called deadheading, and you just snip those out, and all you need for that is a pair of scissors or trimmers or secateurs, as we used to call them in the UK. And when the flowers are just losing their petals like this one, when they're just dropping off, then you just snip off the old flowers, and that then concentrates the energy into making new growth, new flower buds, and that's what helps to keep them going through the rest of the season. So this is a variety that is really a good performer, but also very eye-catching. I'm very fond of whites and cream and light colored plants anyway. I think they bring a certain degree of sophistication to a landscape. They're wonderful for brightening up and freshening the scene. And so I suppose in many ways I was probably a little predisposed to this variety at the start anyway. But honestly, watching it during the summertime and then looking at the foliage and how well the unsprayed plants have done over the years that we've been looking at them here, we can honestly say with a good deal of confidence that this is an excellent performing variety, and one that you should probably think about perhaps including in your rose displays somewhere in your garden. So this is the sprayed plant. And then next to it, over here, is the second plant. And as you see, it's really doing very well too. Just look at it, absolutely loaded with lots of buds here, all waiting to take their turn. You'll notice that this variety tends to flower in clusters at the ends of the shoots here, so it's very impressive. When you look at it up close, you'll see that it's got a kind of fairly bright yellow in the inside, then gradually fading out towards a lemon yellow, and then eventually to a very pretty kind of creamy white that from a distance looks almost white. And I love the way that you get this contrast between this crisp, clean color with the dark green foliage and then the reddish purpley tinted stems that pop up between it too. And as you can see, in another week or so, when all of these buds break out here, this plant is going to be totally covered with lots of very pretty, not the largest flowers. They're probably about 2 inches or so wide, but they're carried in these impressive clusters and therefore makes this really very nice display. So this is also the sprayed plant. Now let me show you the unsprayed ones and let you see what you think. And these two plants are really very impressive. Remember, this one and the one over there has not been sprayed. This was pruned in the springtime, a little bit of fertilizer, and just look at how healthy and vigorous and free flowering and beautiful this plant is. As you see, the nature of it is to grow up tall with a fairly upright habit, getting to about 5 foot or so by, I suppose, 3 or 4 foot wide. And as you see, it's pushing up lots of nice vigorous growth from inside the canopy, showing off this lovely sort of semi-glossy foliage that I think is probably one of the reasons why it resists diseases so well. Now it might be because today is a particularly sunny and fairly warm day, but right now, as I'm sniffing the plants, I'm really not getting very much fragrance. I think at times I probably have noticed a faint fragrance, but really honestly today not that much to talk about. But one thing that's interesting about these semi-double flowers, and I can see it here now on the rest of these flowers, lots of pollinator activity going on. So you can see that this is a plant that attracts bees and pollinators. This semi-double multi-petalled flower has opened up so that it's easy for pollinators to come and visit the flowers. So as well as having pretty flowers, you'll also be benefiting the insects in your area too. Introduced in 2016, this is a hardy Zone 5 plant, so it will grow anywhere in our area, and it's one that was named after the character in Shakespeare's Cymbeline. So as you see, this is a really beautiful variety that, based upon what we're seeing here in the two unsprayed beds, should really be a sterling performer for you in your garden. And I'm going to end by saying, enjoy your gardening. It's good for us, and it's very good for our environment too.